All right, welcome back. Hey, this is Brian here on KIEZ 106.7 FM. Together, we are the voice of the community. Hey, today is a special day, not just because we're above ground, but more so, I finally get the opportunity to sit down and chat at the round table with the executive director, Charles Theus. Family, I've been running behind Charles for years, multiple years, just to be able to sit down and chat with him. This is a busy man. And that's who you want to get in business with. Somebody that's busy, somebody that has a lot of theory and actual hands-on experience. So Charles, thank you for being able to actually break me into your schedule. And I just want to say good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, and good morning to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, Charles, you're the executive director of the S.E.D.D, Southside Economic Development District. Now, a lot of people are not fully aware what is the S.E.D.D. I think the last time some people heard about it, the waters were a little bit muddy under a good friend of mine, Ray Jones. So if you could just really break down to us, what is the S.E.D.D and what is its mission?
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on your program. And the S.E.D.D was an economic development instrument, if you will, that the legislature passed on the recommendation and the ingenuity of Charles D. Jones, who is a good friend of mine and even a better friend to the community. Introduced the legislation in 2004, no, 2001. I apologize, 2001, to start the S.E.D.D, the Southside Economic Development District and the Downtown Economic Development District. They were all in one, and that's where in 2004 they separated. He separated it out, and and the DEDD, the Downtown Economic Development District, became an independent entity, and the S.E.D.D became a separate entity. These are two economic development instruments that is used by the city of Monroe in order to further development. You have the Tower Armand District, whose funds come from the state and local sales taxes. You have the I-20 Development District, which was started on the 8 piers, and a guy named Fred Chevalier from New Orleans helped write the legislation for that. And you had Senator Charles Jones with the DEDD, the downtown, and the S.E.D.D. Well, the S.E.D.D, unbeknownst to a lot of people, is an independent political subdivision. Its life is much like the city of Monroe and the state of Louisiana. It's a separate political subdivision and not under the guise and auspices of the city. It is actually governed by a board, and that board, excuse me, that board of directors has full authority over the district and the people living in the district. It has the authority to enhance and better the lives, or try to better the lives and the quality of life of the people living in the district. We get our funds right now from a hotel motel tax, but we also have in our repertoire of things that we can use to get revenues. We can use a sales tax, which I tried to pass, and I wasn't successful. We were successful with the hotel tax. It passed with one of the highest passages in the city of Monroe, 80, I think it was 87, 84%.
Okay.
And so the sales tax, I feel like, would have passed with a high percentage that would have given us $1 million a year. But it's not dead. And then we have the ability to have an incremental tax. Now that's what I-20 and Tower Amman are famous for, and that's what downtown economic development is going for this year, and possibly next month. They will be going to the new council and asking for an incremental tax. And I have alerted the chairman of the council, Ms. Juanita Woods, that if the North Side or downtown get their tax, then I certainly want to put our name in the hat that I wanted them to approve our tax. Now, by the law, state statute, they don't have to, and we have that written from lawyers from Baton Rouge at the Bond Commission, and also the opinion of the city attorney. But that's something that we had agreed to, that we would work with the former mayor, Jamie Mayo, and if we were going to pass a tax, we certainly wanted his approval and the council's approval, and that's what we're asking for.
I'm confused a little bit. You said that the S.E.D.D is its own political subdivision, but you still have to go to the city to get approval of a tax.
No.
Okay.
Now, what you heard is very close to that. Mm-hmm. What you're hearing is, by state law and by local law, we do not have to go to the town council or the city council in order to get approval. The approval comes in because the bond commission put it as a condition of passage, mm-hmm. that they would only approve it if the city council, even though state statute and legally we don't have to do it, they required it so that we could, so that they would feel better about passing the tax. And when we went to the city council and the mayor, it was a political time, and so we just kind of pulled back.
Mayor Jamie Mayo.
Yes, Jamie Mayo, and we decided we would wait till the election was over, and so we waited till the election over. Now that the election is over, we're going back and asking for that half cent or more, and probably just a half cent would do. But well, it wasn't a half. Yeah, it was a 0.005. So it was a half cent sales tax, which would give us $1 million a year.
Okay, so what does that mean for the taxpayer? Would our taxes increase?
Yeah, yes. If you bought a $100 worth of groceries or $100 worth of anything, you would pay. You would end up paying 50 cents.
50 cents. Okay. So what do we get as a community for our 50 cents per individual?
We were using the tax to help bolster the small business development program that we have drawn up. And that program would foster minority businesses throughout the district. Now, when I say that, and I mean put some real, because we can leverage that tax. We can leverage it for 30 years and have over $30 million. Mm-hmm. So we were going to use that money, those funds, to help small businesses in our community. Let's say that you have a franchise that you want to build. Let's say it's a Burger King or a McDonald's. And I know we have that, but let's just use those for example.
Okay.
A lot of times people don't have access to capital. So when they start talking about how much equity can you put into your business, you have to go back and, you say, I've worked and I only have 500,000. Well, if we had this tax, our plan is to match it or do better and make sure that you have the capital to start your business. The South Side would never grow without minorities owning their own businesses and hiring people that look like us and that paying them a decent salary and the money coming to the homes of the Black folk. Now, you see that when it comes to the Indians that own the stores, and God bless them. I have nothing but praise for anyone who start their business and their family help and they get a grant. Well, we can do that also. And it may be 2 or 3 of them living in the back of the store, but they do it. They work together and they do it. There is no reason why we can't do the same and support our Black folk and make sure that they have this access to capital and stand for each other and make sure that Black people own the building, Black people build the building, Black people rent the building if it's a rental, Black people operate the business, and not And I have nothing, absolutely nothing against Mr. Holyfield. Congratulations on him for winning the election. But
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I say congratulations to Mr. Holyfield for winning the election. I'm sorry?
Mayor Ellis?
Yo, well, don't take that as a slight. I meant Mr. Holyfield was instrumental. He helped Mr. Ellis, like a lot of people, not just Holyfield, like a lot of people.
Supporters.
Supporters. He was a big supporter. And he's a businessman, a very good businessman. And so, but I don't want Mr. Holyfield owning the south side of Monroe.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any problem with Mr. Holyfield coming over and helping us, giving us consultation, even partnering with us. But let us have a little corner, teach us, because he's like I say, evidently is a great business. I've seen his work, his buildings are beautiful, and I hear he's a pretty good guy. Mm-hmm. But I don't want it. Well, before the election, I made a statement to Mr. Ellis, and I said in private, and I said here, I do not want you white folks coming over. If you win, I don't want you coming over, buying up all the property, all the houses, and we end up working for you. You making them beautiful. That's good. That looks good aesthetically. But what have we in the end? What have we to show for you buying up all? We're going to pay rent to you. The money's going to leave our community. And I think they understand that. I think they understand that this has to be a partnership, because I knew Friday's father. He was a great man. I met Mr. Holyfield only once, Joe or whoever. And I think there's room for partnerships. I think there's room for us to learn from these guys, but certainly not to be subservient to anyone.
Wow. I mean, you just laid out a lot right there. So is that even a vision, or is that even possible in south side of Monroe where gentrification can actually take place? If we are not actively involved.
Oh, if we're not actively involved, that will happen. It's been that way for years. The only difference is the sorry landlords that came and bought property didn't even fix it up. They just said, hey, they're black, they'll accept it this way. They don't need anything fixed up. At least I believe in my heart that this new generation, the Holyfields and everyone else, I do believe they want to make things pleasant. But we don't need just pleasant. We need ownership. We need money.
Equity
we need
stake.
Capital. We need an equity stake. And you can keep your pleasant looking buildings if we're not part owners. We need ownership, man. We need funds. We need to educate our kids. We need to pay our payrolls to our sons, our daughters that work part-time, our family members. And you know how to do it. Small businesses hire their daughters, their sons, and their family members. And that's what we need. We need to do just like what they're doing.
Yeah, Mr. Theus, you're talking about a legacy, leaving a legacy.
We need a legacy. We need an inheritance, as the Lord say, to pass down for our grandchildren.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We need that, or else you're going to keep this trap. I'm not going to harp on Mr. Holyfield because he's not the cause of our problem. But if Vantage Healthcare, Holyfield, Eddie Haker, if they own everything in the black community, are we better off? I mean, Rispoli is dead now, but he owned over 200 houses or more in the black community. And when he was alive, he kept those houses going. Now, not so much. Those houses are not so much like they used to be. And so but if you own the house, I don't care, and you leave it to your son or your daughters, no matter what happens, they're going to keep it up.
Want to save money on your car insurance? Call us right now to see how much you can save. Get the coverage and payment that works best for you. You could be missing out on savings that you qualify for. Call us today to see if you can save money. Call
They're
now.
going to keep it up into perpetuity because they have an interest. I have an interest. You know, my mother left me a house on the south side of Monroe. And so I have an interest in keeping the house up as best I can, making sure the taxes are paid. And remember, ownership comes with responsibility, taxes. We're better off by paying taxes uh, and using those taxes for the Black community's benefit. There's $200 million a year, $190 million that goes through the Black community in the Southside Economic Development District's coffers every year. 190 million, right at 200. Over $8 million is taken from the Black community and distributed. I'll say this: I haven't seen it distributed in the Black community, but I don't know where it goes. But I haven't seen it distributed in the Black community.
So we're talking about sales taxes?
Sales taxes. Just sales taxes. That's not that. There's $60 million of ad valorem taxes that goes through the South Side. So you're talking about, I'm sorry, when I say 60 million, 60, there's net $60,000 in for every 5 meals that goes through the Black community. So about $350,000 in ad valorem taxes is being collected from the South Side right now. Just from the South. When I say the South Side, I'm not talking about the mall, even though the mall is part of District 3. We're not talking about the mall. If you add the mall in, you're talking about a different story. But you're talking about this 165 all the way over to South Grand in some places, and down to Buckhorn Bend. That's what you're basically saying from, and also Nutland Road. The Nutland Road to the east, the Washita River to the west, and then Buckhorn Bend and the middle of Louisville Avenue being the boundaries. So you're talking about right at $9 million just from those two taxes. Just from those two taxes.
Right.
$9 million a year, and you know, I mean, what do we get?
I mean, you make a lot of sense. If you have that much money going outside of that community and never coming right back to replenish it or allow it to circulate in our community, that means that somewhere down that line, that circle is going to be depleted. And it looks like that's the current situation that we're in right now. Now,
we're in a free fall.
Yeah. Now, how I got a couple questions. How do we compare to, because Monroe is the biggest metroplex in this area. We are the entitlement city. How do we compare to other towns around us? Bigger towns like, not Shreveport, but maybe like Ruston, Columbia, you know.
Okay, very good. Columbia has been in a renaissance for about 20 years, and they've gotten their downtown vital. And they have gotten their small shops. They took the approach, as did Ruston, but I'll talk about Columbia. They took the approach, hey, look, it's better to have 100 small businesses that are owned by local people where the money would stay in town than to have one large business that at any minute it could go under. And then you got thousands of people out of jobs. But if they took that approach, and it works, because they diversified their economy, they diversified their ownership, the equity stake of the stakeholders in the city, and so it works. And Ruston did the same thing. Ruston came and they started with, they received, at the same time I-20 did, they received a taxing district that's very vital. And it's along that interstate. It took a long time for them to build that up. But once they allowed the sales of alcohol and the hotel industry caught on to what they had, then they started revitalizing their community, and it has worked out very well because now they're building a sports complex. And I suggested we build an entertainment district at the same time. But they're building hotels, sports complex, and other things, and they're now they are putting everything back into the community. Look at West Monroe. West Monroe, when I talked about a half a penny sales tax, everyone just went, bananas except the people. The people wanted it, but the politicians went berserk. Now, West Monroe passed a 2-cent sales tax, same type that I'm talking about. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything but cooperate. And you see the way West Monroe is just expanding and growing along that interstate. We could do the same thing. But it's who controls that, Tiffany, because I was told, hey, they're not against, just like the casino that I wanted to bring. Hey, it had 500 jobs. But I was told by a politician, hey, look, they just don't want you to get it. That's a sorry excuse. I say, if not me, then who? Who do we need? And I was called by some local business people say, if you let us in, then we'll support you. I said, you're not supporting me because I don't own a casino. If support the South Side. South Side was going to get a ton of money from that casino. The town was going to get a ton of money from that casino. So it was something that I think would have happened. I think now there's another chance to get another bite at the apple. But I think the way things are set up, I would be surprised if we get a seat at the table, other than mopping the floor or wiping down the counters. We'll get that because nobody else wants it. And we may not get that because the Mexicans are here now. So we may get a seat at the it's doubtful if we'll get a seat at the table. We need a seat at the table and a strong voice. And like I said, I'm watching and I'm waiting to see if that happens.
I'm sitting at the table talking to Charles Theus, the executive director of the S.E.D.D, Southside Economic Development District. So, Mr. Theus, share with us, what can we do as a community to get involved and also keep abreast of what's going on so we can properly represent our communities? Because we believe in leaving a legacy. We believe in circulating the dollar in our community, but sometimes the access to that information may be a little bit challenging. So what can we do?
Okay, the number one thing we can do, believe it or not, speaks volumes. Register to vote. And when you register to vote, vote. And you vote for who you want to vote for. That's your business. Nobody can make you vote for anybody. The art of persuasion is the only power people have over you when it comes to your vote. So registering to vote is vital. The young people, the old people, whatever, but vote. Then I think we need to sit down and we need to make our voices heard. Friday Ellis is a young man, in my opinion, because he's younger than I am. And he is receptive to it, as I understand it, because I talk with him and I believe him. I believe you until I see otherwise. And I don't, we shouldn't be prejudiced. Give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. Let us meet with him. Whether I'm at S.E.D.D or not, I want to see Friday succeed. I think he deserved a chance. He won the title as mayor. Let's try to work with him. He has some challenges. He has this video that has surfaced with the man kicking the man's teeth out. And he has some other challenges, with how the minority community is going to be treated. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, because I knew his father, I think and I'm praying for him that he'll survive those issues. And now we need to sit down with him and talk about the real issue of economic development. How do we make sure that we stay with our hand on steering wheel and make sure that in the South Side, because or put our hands on the steering wheel. So we need to talk to Mr. Ellis, Mayor Ellis, and make sure that he knows we don't want just one person or two people like Pastor Wright representing us. We don't need a buck anymore. We don't need that. Um, we don't need a buck. We don't need a house man to get in between us and the mayor. We need real dialogue between the mayor's office and the citizens and the council. I think they're open to that. I really do. I believe they're open to it. And tell him what you want. Let's see, and demand what you want. People shouldn't be afraid of the politicians. The politicians should be afraid of the citizens. We're the ones that hire them. We're the ones that fire them.
Exactly. I appreciate that. Mr. Theus, I know you promised me, you scheduled me for a block. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is there anything else you want to share with the people? And before you do, let us know how can we, is there a Facebook page or a website for the S.E.D.D so we can find out what's going on in the meetings? How can we actually get engaged?
Okay, that's a great idea, and I think that I'm waiting. I've heard some people speak, some good friends of mine, and some people that are not good friends of mine, that are forming groups, and I like to see that grassroots groups. And I'm not forming anything myself. I like to hear from people, but I've already got my charge, and that's the Southside Economic Development District. I don't tell people how to vote or do this, but I am saying this. If you know someone that is active like that, like the NAACP or another group that is sponsoring, grassroots efforts, I think now is the time. Let's join them. Even if somebody called me today and said, I want to form a voters get out the vote group. And then I had another guy has a lot of money said, I want to, how do I get people involved in voting? How are we going to turn them out? I want to donate money. I said, then start it, then do it, and reach out to people. They don't need to hear from me. They need to hear from you. If you got the money, you got the time, we need to find groups, pockets of groups, leaders in the community. And I think everyone can be a leader. And then follow, sign up with them. I'm anxious. I'm ready. Because if we need a group that's gonna support Friday, Mr. Friday. We need a group that's gonna support the community. We need a group that's gonna support the council people, not blindly. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
we don't need anybody to follow. We need to follow. What did Christ say? Jesus said, Paul said it. He said, follow me as I follow Christ. We need to follow in that sense. As long as you're doing the right thing, we need to follow you. We need to help you. But we don't need to follow blindly. And I'm waiting for those groups, and I'm certainly going to sign up.
All right. Hey, we're sitting here at the round table with the Executive Director, Charles Theus of the Southside Economic Development District. And it sounds like there's a lot on the table, but more so he's asking for us to reach out, to get involved and hold the individuals that have been elected, hold them accountable, and always keep in mind, do not go into it blindly. Well, Mr. Theus, I sure appreciate you. Is there anything on the table you want to share with the family?
At this point, I want to say thank you to Mr. Jamie Mayo for everything he did for Southside Economic Development District, the airport, the safety center, the funds for S.E.D. Sometimes we're so critical we forget to say thank you, and thank you to the mayor, the new elected mayor for what he's about to do, and all the elected council members. Thank them, and thank for all the people that ran. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you again. We sure appreciate you sitting down with us.
All right, man. Thank you so much.